This is the story of the Select Band and their quality producers' attitudes. This is their director.
I'm on.
That is a silly person. Panning down to the flute section first, we hear the sounds of a spooky ghost and heart monitors that they'll be making during the course of this action. Here it is, spooky ghost sound. Oh, I'm all a shiver. And then the heart monitor sound. It's to die for. Next, we pan over to our oboes, who will present the sound of the flatline, dying sound of our hero, John. Also, as John is hit upon the head, he will see little birds tweeting, and this will be the sound. Panning to our clarinets, we see, or we hear, rather, we're a band, we hear, better than we see, probably. We hear the sounds of the ambulance coming to the rescue. Here it is, and... and also of tornado sirens blasting in the event of a tornado. And... take cover, run for your lives! Now, our most delicate and serenely contemplative sound, the mating call of the San Zipper Cranes by our bass clarinetists. Well, thank you. Wounded ducks and other assorted foul sounds from the tornado disaster are heard by our saxophone section. Go ahead, saxophones. Ever present when Marcia says, "Oh, John," is the sigh from the trumpets. Also, at the racetrack, we hear the sounds of charge and of horse whinnies. Thank you, Daniel. French horn section provides us with the dial tone of the cellular phone. And then the frantic dialing of the 911. Here it is. Yes, frantic, wasn't it? We almost forgot the elephant calls. Here they are from the French horns, and pretty sick elephant. Our trombone section provides us with the sounds of a flying saucer. The sounds of cows being, oh, no, that's, okay, that's not it. Dying cattle, yes, dying cattle. Here are the cattle dying. Moo, okay. And finally, a blood-curdling scream. Ready? Our baritones and tubas provide us with the sounds of the horse's hooves galloping. And
To the race.
next, John's horse has some gas. Ugh, that's disgusting. All right, next, our tubas have the spaceship guns. And weak phaser electron blasts. It sounds mysteriously like John's horse still has gas. All right. We have the sound of the cows being lifted into the UFO by our tippetist, Ryan Eckwurzel. Go. Moo. Moo. Oh, I think this podium is a little lopsided. No, it's not. We have the sound of a heart thumping. Of assorted gunshots from the militia. And of the spaceship crashing to the earth. Our story begins at the haunted house attraction at the local zoo. In the background, we can hear various sounds of nature, like trumpet parts hitting the ground. These various sounds of natures include the sound of elephant calls. The sound of elephant calls can be heard. The sound of sick elephant calls can be heard everywhere. Ah, wait, in the distance you can hear the mating call of the sand zipper crane. Its haunting, beautiful, lyrical sound, echoing softly over the moors. Not to mention other foul sounds in the amusement park portion. The haunting beauty, the reason why our hero and heroine, John and Marcia, often visit the amusement park. We hear the two lovers speaking fondly to one another as they make their way through the park. Just then, we hear a tornado siren go off. Whatever shall we do? I don't know, but we must take cover. The tornado siren sounded, and then we had flying debris, flying debris, flying debris. John is hit in the head and sees little birds tweeting. But John does not respond because he's been knocked cold. All right. Just then, in the background, we hear the sounds of the racetrack about to begin because they haven't seen the tornado yet. Here's the call to the post. Ready? John, hearing the call to the post, and who has been hit on the head and does not understand what's happening, runs and leaps on the nearest horse and rides away, mysteriously. Well, Marcia doesn't know where John is going to, so she gets on her cellular phone and dials 911. The 911 operator answers and says, "What is the nature of your emergency?" Marcia, having seen her beloved right away, says to them, "Oh, I think they're headed for a field where I see a flying saucer. Why don't you send the Kansas militia and everyone that you can down to help us out?" "Okay, ma'am, we'll be right there." So, let's see. Soon, the Kansas militia comes riding up on horses. Soon, John comes riding up on his horse. We hear the whinny of all the horses. We hear the gas of all the horses. Yeah, that was me. I had to stop at Taco Tico for a burrito before I came. All right. Just then, they see the flying saucer approaching. Cattle are being mysteriously sucked up into the flying saucer. Mysteriously sucked up into the saucer. Just then, the Kansas militia opens fire. The crowd's hearts are thumping. The excitement is almost too much to bear. Gunshots ring out again. And the mysterious flying saucer comes crashing to the ground. And that is the story of the fate of our two star-crossed lovers, John and Marcia, as they ride off happily into the sunset on their horses. Wait, there's somebody still alive in the spaceship. They fire their guns. John and Marcia's horse are hit in the rear. Panic arises. The crowd runs for cover. They scream, "Oh no, the humanity, the humanity! Help us all!" This is your reporter signing off. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting saga of As My Stomach Churns. The players today are the cast of the bands 7 and 8, and they'll be playing certain sound effects that we'll demonstrate for you now. The computer sounds from our flute players. The annoying buzzing fly from our oboe players. The swatting sound of the fly dying. The whee of the clarinets imitating Marcia and John's relief. The bass clarinets with the energy surge of the computer. and an annoying milk truck sound as well. Oh, isn't that annoying? Saxophones continue with our traffic sounds. Saxophones. All right. Let's see. Our trumpets with the sigh of Marcia. Ready? Once again, trumpets. And not forgetting our fanfare. Da, 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 da. Here it is, trumpet players, and yes. Next, we have the elephant calls from the zoo scene at the zoo. Yes, and nice elephants. John's grown at learning that his computer will cost $9,487.26 to fix. Yeah. All right. The train crossing signal produced by our bell players. The frantic sound of the bells, yes. And then, of course, the actual sound of the train approaching. Not to mention horses' hooves that we forgot the first time from our baritones and tubas. Horses' hooves. You know how to do it. The horses escaped from the wrecked train. And here it is, the sound of a horse galloping from our baritones and our trombones. Not to mention the taps as a bugle player stumbles out of the wrecked train to play taps for all the carnage that he witnesses at the train wreck site. Thank you. All right, the AT&T sound of the bells. Quickly, the AT&T sound of the bells. AT&T. All right. Your true voice. Oh, no, that's okay. The piano with chase music as we go through the city streets. More traffic signals, more milk trucks, the crashing sound of the cymbals and bass drum as the car wreck happens. Everybody crash! The hushed silence as a hush falls over the crowd. The ambulance sound of the clarinets. Ready? Very good. The heart monitor of the flutes. And the flat line of John dying. And that is how our story will unfold. Our story unfolds. Yes, our story unfolds one day in the home of John and Marcia, our hero and heroine, that they're at their computer desk listening to the sounds of their multi-million-dollar computer. Just then, an annoying fly buzzes around their heads. The fly lands squarely on Marcia's chin. John, seeing the fly on Marcia's chin, takes a swing at it. Marcia, not knowing that John was swatting at a fly, takes the swat on her chin as a direct insult and swats him back. Realizing suddenly that it was just a mere fly that was coming between them and their relationship, the happy couple breathe a sigh of relief that all is well now. Just then, we hear an energy surge in the computer. And everything comes to a screeching halt. Oh, darn. What happened to our computer?
I don't know, John. Why don't you find out?
Well, I guess we'll have to take it to Radio Shack and find out what the matter is. So, our happy couple hops into the car and, leaving the driveway, is almost hit by an annoying milk truck. They make their way out into the traffic. With the annoying milk truck close behind. John and Marcia pass by a raceway track where the trumpeter's call brings the horses to the starting gate. Here's the trumpeting call. We hear the horses' hooves as they come galloping up to the starting gate. Apparently, there are 6,000 horses. Realizing that this is not a horse raceway track, but rather an elephant raceway track, they hear the sounds of the elephants as they come to the gates to run the race. And the elephants only trumpet once. Okay, let's see. John and Marcia continue on their way to Radio Shack, and upon arriving there, they find out that it will cost $9,847.27 to correct the problem that exists with the computer at this time. John is heard to groan audibly. On their way back home, the happy couple is approaching a railroad intersection when Marcia suddenly hears a sound of ominence.
John, isn't that a railroad crossing?
Oh, no, Marcia. That's just some weird bell sound. I don't know what it means.
John, I think it's a train crossing, John. Look at those crossing guards coming down.
Oh, we can make it around them. Don't worry, honey.
John, would you please not do that? John, John!
Suddenly, the sound of the train is heard.
John, I think that's a train.
No, that's just some kid over there playing on a trombone.
No, John, it really is a train. John, stop the car now, please, John.
The train keeps coming. The signal keeps crossing. The train keeps coming. It's getting closer. The signal speeds up mysteriously. The signal speeds up mysteriously. The signal speeds up mysteriously. The train is almost upon them. Suddenly there's a crash. Oh! A hush falls over the crowd. Waking up and realizing what has happened, Marcia, seeing her John with a 29,000-ton locomotive pressed on his chest, dials her cellular phone for 911. Well, instead of getting 911 operator, she gets the AT&T operator instead.
AT&T. Quick, get me 911. I've got a train sitting on top of John's chest. Get over here, quick.
Okay, ma'am, we'll be right there. Suddenly, sirens from all over the city can be heard. Apparently, cows mooing can be heard also. There's a traffic jam. Elephants can be heard racing to the scene. There's an annoying milk truck. Suddenly, everything crashes at the scene. Then the sound of one straggling ambulance can be heard that has to transport all the people to the hospital. And we're not sure that ambulance is going to make it, but miraculously they do. So the next scene is in the hospital where our hero and heroine, John and Marcia, are. There is apparently a chase scene going on outside the hospital. And John's heart races along right in tempo. The chase scene is now over, and we come back to John's heart. John's heart, John, upon hearing his beloved Marcia enter the room, John's heart starts to flutter quicker. It goes into VFib, and suddenly it's flatlined. Oh no, quick! Somebody come in here and help John! I'll help! Me too! Oh, I'll help! It's me! I'll help! Okay. The doctor gets the paddles ready to shock John back into existence. Ready? Clear! Oh, just shock him already! Ka-chunk! Back into sinus rhythm, John goes. But he knows Marcia's still in the room, so he gets a little excited and almost dies again. Clear? Oh, just shock him already! Ka-chunk! Marcia, sensing that this is a hopeless situation, goes to the doctor and says, "Oh, doctor, you've been so good to John, but I don't think he's gonna make it. Next time he goes into VFib, just let him go." Okay, baby. And that's how our happy saga ends, with Marcia marrying the doctor. All right. Thank you. The cast of players has been our flute section. Yay! Oboes. Yay! Clarinets. Yay! Saxophones. Yay! Oh, mad panic comes over the crowd, and they rush to put things away. Oh, no! No! Yes, yes. No! No! Yes, yes. Goodbye. Good evening, sports fans. We're here at Manhattan Middle School taping the first ever improvisational composition by the 24-Week Band. Yes, the 24-Week Band, under the direction of Mr. Scott Vribby, will be performing a work starring John and Marcia. We'll be right back with the exciting conclusion of whatever this thing is. You only know it's on if the red light is on.
The red light's on.
Oh, the red light's not on. Okay, now we're here with the flute players. The flute players are about to do their, let's see, are you the vacuum cleaners? No, okay. Let's go with the water dripping sound. Okay, flutes. Thank you for the water dripping sound. Back to the saxophones for the vacuum cleaner. Oh, you can just sense that the apartment is getting clean. And on to the babies crying. Trumpet section, go for it. Ah, sounds just like home at 3 a.m. All right. The haunting calls of the sandmill cranes as performed by our clarinet section. Go for it. All right, next, the annoying milk truck sound by our bass clarinets. Oh, that's annoying, yes. The traffic sounds of the saxophones. I can swear those horns sound like vacuum cleaners. All right, elephant calls from our French hornists. All right, and let's see, the horse galloping and the horse's gas by our baritones. Horse galloping first. And tuba. Oh, gosh. If you're sick, go to the hospital. All right, the dial tone from the French horns. And the clarinets dialing 911. Here it is. Yeah, we'll get emergency services fast. All right, and then back to Dustin for the MCI version. Thank you for using MCI. Okay, the flutes come in with the ambulance sound. Ready? There are apparently several ambulances coming to the scene. Okay, saxes add traffic congestion. And the bells are signaling the crossing gates are coming down. Louder bells. It's more severe. Oh, and it slows down and speeds up. That's cool. All right, the train whistle from the baritones and tuba. Here's the train whistle. Ready? On concert E, which is your F sharp. Baritones. Okay, and then we have the crashing cars. Everybody make a sound of a crashing car. Here we go, and... Yeah, that's a crashing car. All right, and then the ambulance heart monitor. We've got the heart monitor. Go for the heart monitor. Okay, John loses consciousness and his heart fails, and we have the sound of the flat line. Ah! Oh. Okay, and that's it. And now we're back for another exciting episode of As the Stomach Churns. Yes, in this drama, this saga of romance and trips to the zoo, we have our two principal players, John and Marcia. All right, and they are at home in their condominium when at 3 in the morning, all kinds of things are happening to disturb their sleep. At first, we hear the sound of a vacuum cleaner. And as if that wasn't annoying enough, babies everywhere crying. Come on, vacuum cleaners, keep going. And if that weren't annoying enough, then water starts dripping.
Oh, John, I just can't take this anymore. I can't get to sleep, so we'll have to go out and go to the zoo.
All right, Marcia.
Oh, John!
So our happy couple takes to the street and gets in their car and starts out. At 3 in the morning, they are unaware that, yes, indeed, there is an annoying milk truck following closely behind them. This annoying milk truck just keeps honking and doesn't let up. Soon they get into the traffic where they hear many, many traffic sounds.
Oh, John, I just can't take this anymore. We're going to have to do something like go to the zoo, where it's nice and quiet and peaceful.
So they take the next corner and get away from the traffic sounds. Now they're at the zoo.
Oh, John.
They head into the zoo, where they come upon the first exhibit, a group of flying sandmill cranes. Unbeknownst to them, the sandmill crane exhibit is right in front of the elephant exhibit, and an elephant comes up right behind John and Marcia and says, this scaring John, but John not wanting Marcia to see that he's scared, John suggests that they go and ride a pony ride, which at 3 in the morning is kind of unusual, but hey, anyway, this is our story, not yours. So they go over to the pony rides, and they find ponies, and the sound of the horses are galloping all around. Obviously, one horse has visited Taco Tico. Now, they continue on their way, and unbeknownst to them, the elephants have followed them to the pony ride, and as John is sitting on one of the small Shetland ponies, an elephant comes up behind and says, this sends the, no, the elephant doesn't have gas. This sends the pony galloping off into the sunrise because the sun is just coming up. He's going fast. And he's joined by another pony. Okay? Now, this prompts Marcia to call after John.
Oh, John!
And as John is being taken off into the sunset, or rather sunrise, we hear Marcia dialing 911. Here's the dial tone, followed by the punch of the numbers 911. But unbeknownst to them, they don't get the 911 operator. Instead, they get this sound. All right.
My husband, John, has just been taken hostage by a rampaging Shetland pony who is on his way to the sunrise.
Don't you mean sunset, ma'am?
No, you fool! It's 3 in the morning. The sun is just coming up.
Well, okay, ma'am. We'll get some emergency help out to you right away. Can you describe where you're at?
We're at the zoo, which is sometimes known as the amusement park. Okay.
All right.
Then The Shetland pony ran out into a pasture right next to it, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Oh, please.
Okay. We'll be right there, ma'am. We'll send an ambulance right away. Soon the ambulances from all over the city are converging. Ambulances from everywhere are there. There's traffic congestion. And an occasional Hoover vacuum. Maybe it's a Kirby. Maybe it's a TJ. They're coming up on a railroad intersection. They can hear the railroad crossing coming down. They're almost there. They hear the train. That train's coming around the tracks. No, there are 2 trains, now 3. Oh my gosh. Will they make it? Will they make it?
Oh, John, I think you should stop. Don't ride that pony across the train tracks now.
Oh, don't worry, Marcia. I can do anything.
No, John, no.
Suddenly, there's a crash. Every car apparently hit at the exact same moment, and there wasn't that big of a crash. Now, the next scene is our hero and our heroine waking up in the hospital with tubes coming out of their brains and whatever. But it's not Marcia, it's just John, because he was the only one hit by all 3 trains at the intersection of the railroad crossing. And we hear the sound of the heart monitor. Suddenly, Marcia walks in, and John's heart begins to race. And it suddenly goes silent. A doctor rushes in, gets the paddles ready. Clear! Ready? And ka-chunk. John is brought back to life miraculously. Marcia says, which makes John's heart race even faster. The doctors come and give him a sedative, which lowers his heart rate. To the point where it stops. They try to defibrillate him again. Clear! Ka-chunk! He's brought back to sinus rhythm. Marcia, getting a little tired of all this, decides to run off with the doctor. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of As Our Stomachs Churn.
Yay, yay, yay.
Okay. Welcome again, sports fans, to another exciting episode of As Our Stomachs Churn. Yes, the principal players in our little soap opera today are none other than our own Marcia and John. Yes, it's John and Marcia. We start out our exciting episode at John and Marcia's home, where we hear a telephone ring.
Oh, John!
We hear the telephone ringing again. The heroine of our story is Marcia, and she picks up the phone, and it's her husband, John, on the other end.
Oh, Marcia.
The two have been married for some 2 months now, after being divorced for the 45th time from some other cousins that they had other times. Okay? Marcia is on the phone when an annoying fly comes into the scene. The fly lands and is swatted promptly by Marcia. Ooh. Now, continuing on. Marcia agrees to meet John at a nearby amusement park where they can ride little Shetland ponies and enjoy the day's activities. She gets into her car and starts the car and goes out into the street. Just then, following closely behind her, comes an annoying milk truck. With apparently 2 or 3 different types of horns. This annoying milk truck follows her, keeps following her, and keeps tooting the horn into the heavy traffic scene. Meanwhile, Marcia gets to the amusement park and finds John riding a little Shetland pony. The sound of the horse's hooves can be heard in the faint distance. John, riding up on the trusty little steed that stands 2 feet 1 inches tall, is an impressive sight as his Marcia takes him in for the first time and says,
Oh, Marcia.
Just then, at the zoo, we hear the exciting sounds of the elephant call, which the sound is so trumpeting and so live that it sends the Shetland pony scurrying for cover. John is in some trouble now, as can be seen by his flailing hair in the distance and his loss of the reins. Yes, now, John enters what appears to be a firing range for ducks. Well, not for ducks. I mean, they're firing the guns at the ducks. That's what's happening. And the ducks are rebelling and now dive bombing at the hunters themselves. Impressive as it is, one of the ducks clips John on the head as he's riding by on the Shetland pony, knocking him to the ground, all 2 feet 1 inches. As he's laying there on the ground, what should happen but the horse who was riding him comes back around to where he's at, clip-clopping all the way. And unfortunately for John, the horse has gas at that moment. All right. This wakes John up enough that he doesn't need smelling salts anymore because something really smelly just woke him up. And he looks down and sees a rattlesnake nearby. This frightens both him and the pony. They leap into each other's arms, the pony and the the pony and the John, that is. And the pony says, and John says, "Oh, pony." Oh, no, wait a minute. All right. Sensing that there is a problem, Marcia appears on the scene and with her cellular phone is able to dial 911. Here it is. But instead of the 911 sound, instead of the 911 operator, she gets this sound.
AT&T.
Phew!
furious that she has not received the person that she was trying to call, Marcia says,
Get me an ambulance quick out to this place where I am at.
the operator, not knowing where Marcia is at, says, where are you at? And the operator sends the ambulance and every fire department equipment piece that can be sent towards the place where the cellular phone is emanating from, and the resulting siren wielding is impressive. Here we go, sirens, and... Wondering what all the commotion is about, all the traffic in the city starts heading to follow them, including the annoying milk truck. Suddenly, they approach a railroad intersection. They can hear the trains coming from either direction. Oh no, what will happen? What will happen? Suddenly, there is a horrendous crash when Pony, John, and all the fire equipment and ambulances and traffic from the city hit at the exact same moment as the two trains entering the intersection. That's supposed to be a big crash. Everybody. Oh! Bodies are flying everywhere! Our next scene is in the hospital, where John, being the only one affected negatively by the impact of all those cars and the pony and the two trains, is lying in a hospital bed with a heart monitor, keeping track of his life signs. Just then, Marcia, his beloved, enters the room and makes his little heart race even faster. This sends him into defibrillation, in which case he dies. Seeing the flat line, a doctor rushes in with paddles and, taking the gel cream, actually it's Brill cream, from his hair, takes the gel cream and spreads it on the paddles and says, "Clear!"
Clear.
Oh, just shock him anyway.
Ka-chunk! The resulting shock gets John back into sinus rhythm. But seeing Marcia standing there with her brown hair flowing in the wind, it's kind of windy in the hospital, you know, his little heart starts to race even faster. So the doctor orders some medicine to slow his heart rate down. The only problem is it gets slower and slower. Until finally, yes, you guessed it, an oboe player happens on the scene. John is now dead, but he's shocked back to life by the paddles o' life once again. Clear! Oh, just shocked him anyway. Ka-chunk! Back in sinus rhythm. Realizing that the situation of life, death, life, death, life, death is a hopeless one, Marcia decides to run off and marry the doctor. So this ends our little saga of As Our Stomachs Churn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our cast of characters. They are real characters. Boomer.
Good afternoon, sports fans. We're here at Manhattan Middle School with the first taping of the beginning wins class and their soap opera story, As Our Stomachs Churn. We'll be back in a moment with the exciting story of our two heroes, John and Marcia, after a word from our sponsors.
Let's go out to the kitchen. Let's go out to the kitchen. Let's go out to the kitchen and have ourselves a snack.
Milk! It makes a body good. Our story begins in the home of John and Marcia, where Marcia is calling John, who is at a duck shooting range, getting new materials for his duck hunting expedition. We hear the dial tone of the phone. Marcia begins to dial. The phone is ringing. It's picked up by our hero, John. Hello?
Oh, John.
John, I've just been thinking about you, dearest, and what I've called and decided to do is I would like to go duck hunting with you. Can you come home, dear?
All right, sweetie, I'll come home, but make sure that you have all the materials ready for duck hunting. Make sure you've got my duck calls and my motorboat all tuned up. Can you do it?
Why, sure, dearest one. I can do that. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right. The moments pass, and John makes his way home, and we hear the sound of the doorbell ringing as John comes to the door.
Oh, John.
John enters the house and asks his beloved, "Is the motorboat all tuned up, baby?"
Why, yes. Here it is. I'll start the motor again.
Hey, that sounds pretty good. How about them duck calls, sweetie? All right, sounds pretty good. Well, let's get started on our way. Let's see. Okay, let's go get in the car. So the two happy couple, the two in the happy couple, the two people leave and go out and get in the car and go out into the traffic zone. We hear the sounds of traffic all around them. But most of all, we hear an annoying milk truck. Hey, baby, we're almost to the point where we can hunt ducks now, but that darn annoying milk truck sure is making me mad. Unbeknownst to our happy couple, they are approaching a railroad intersection, and they don't hear the sounds of the warning bell. Also, the sound of the annoying milk truck seemingly drowns out the sound of the actual impending doom of the train horn. What will happen to John and Marcia? Stay tuned as we will be back in a moment.
Hi, Biz is better than his.
Biz is better than his. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Smiles all around saying Biz is better than his. Oh, these guys must use Ultra Bright.
Right here.
Whoops.
Biz,
Okay.
eat your piece of the wrong way crust first.
All right. We have a Pizza Hut commercial. But now she needs to use Ultra Bright like these guys because she's got pizza between her teeth. All right. Now back to our story. When we were last here, the impending train was about to hit the car of John and Marcia. Oh no! They're going to hit! Oh, the tragedy, the humanity. We hear Marcia, who is amazingly unharmed, get her cellular phone out and dial 911. The 911 operator answers, "What is the nature of your emergency?"
I need an ambulance here, quick! Everyone has been hurt in a train accident, and we need to transport my lover, John, to the hospital. Please come quickly.
The sounds of ambulances ring out all over the city. Someone's coughing. Finally, John is transported to the hospital, where we rejoin our story as John is hooked up to the heart monitor. Upon seeing his beloved Marcia enter the hospital room, John's heart starts to race until the point where he dies. A doctor rushes in with the defibrillator paddles and says, "Clear!" Oh, just shock him already. Ka-chunk. Sinus rhythm is reestablished. Well, almost reestablished. John sees Marcia again and his heart starts to race again. The doctors give him some medication that calms his heart down. Unfortunately, it calms it down a little too much, and John dies again. And that's the end of our story, ladies and gentlemen. Poor John, poor Marcia. Marcia, feeling sad, runs off with the doctor. And John is dead. We'll see you. Bye-bye.